You're listening to Witch Wednesdays, a semi-weekly podcast source for all things witchcraft in the modern world. Join your host, Steph, on Wednesday mornings to chat about seasons, Sabbats, and all new witchcraft topics to help you make your life more magical. Welcome back to Witch Wednesdays. I'm Steph, and I have a guest here with me today to talk about something a little different, but I think that this particular audience is really going to enjoy it. So I am going to turn it over so she can introduce herself and let you know where you can find her online, and then we're going to dive into a very fun topic.
Hi, my name is Tess, and I have done a lot of different things in the spiritual community, but what I really want to talk about right now is my upcoming event called the Witch Summit, which is going to be a spiritual conference with speakers, workshops, authors, book signings, a marketplace, and a bewitching ball at night. I have created my own products. I've created my own Oracle deck. I've done a bunch of different things, but this is something that I've always wanted to do and am extremely passionate about. It's something I feel like is needed and we don't really have in the community, something where it's in person and it's hands-on and people can get all different types of education. So I'm really excited to talk about it.
I am very excited as well. I think that people are really going to enjoy it, and you have a few speakers, workshops, meet and greets with witches, spiritualists, authors who have been on this podcast before. So I was going through it and I was like, I know them. I know them too. So I think that this audience is going to particularly enjoy this event. So when and where is it?
So it's October 4th of this year in Phoenix, Arizona. It's all happening on the same day. So during the day will be like the conference style event. And then at night, we're going to have the fantasy ball. So you can go to both, you can go to one of them, you can do basically whatever you want to do that day.
That is fantastic. So the ball sounds absolutely amazing. And I keep like seeing those and stuff on Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks like so much fun. And to have a witchcraft themed one is like even more fun. So that's definitely a huge plus. What can people expect if they were going to go all day?
So people can expect to go to hands-on workshops. You get to pick which workshop you want to go to, and you'll be able to see who's going to be speaking during the workshop. So you're not going to miss anything that you want to see. We're going to have speakers talking the entire day. Um, so you can sit in on their lectures, or you can go to a workshop and learn hands-on if you'd rather do that. We also are going to have the meet and greets inside, so you can, walk around, get books signed, take pictures, talk to people who have written books on these subjects and have conversations with them, ask them any questions you might have, and purchase books from them or purchase whatever they have there. And then we also have a marketplace happening during the same time where you can get products for your practice. All of the vendors have tools and wares that are specific to the spiritual aspect. We also have readers, and someone's going to be doing aura photos too. So it's all happening during the day, and it's like so much for people to experience and do that I don't think there will be a moment of boredom.
Now, I have seen summits that are, book focused, just in general, fantasy books, of course. And I've seen like occult and oddities fairs, but I don't know. There are like witchy themed ones, but there aren't too many of them. So, what made you decide to create one?
I had this idea probably 6 years ago. And it was when I originally started doing stuff in the like witch community and spiritual community by I made my own intentional candles and sprays and things like that. And that's how I started out. So I vended for a event for Satan Con, and it was in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I'm not saying that I know there's a lot of differences between Satanists and witchcraft, and people feel all different types of ways, and I'm not trying to compare the two. But that event gave me the idea because I was like, this is so cool that they have speakers and workshops and like this community and this event for this community. Why can't we do that for like the witchcraft community? Because I've been to a lot of events where there's like marketplaces for the witchcraft community and things like that, but there's no speakers and there's no education and there's nothing for people to feel like they're part of the community. It's just something for them to purchase things or go to, but not to learn more and talk to other experts and feel that connection. So I wanted to bring that, you know, community and experience to the witch community.
And would this be ideal for, like, could you come to it as like a complete beginner? Do you need to have like already know anything? And can you come by yourself?
Yes, that's my hope from this experience and this event is that people will build connections by going to it. So I do hope people come to it alone or by themselves if they don't know anyone that's interested in this and it's just them. I really hope people find friends and connections through this event so they don't feel alone in their practice. And it's for any level. You could be experienced, you could not know anything, you could just be a little bit interested in it because we have subjects on almost every type of witchcraft, and not everyone knows everything. So even if you're like advanced in tarot cards or whatever your experience is, you'll still find something new to learn at this event.
Well, that sounds fantastic. I always see, events, not just witchcraft, but like events in general, where I'm like, oh, I would want to go, but I don't have anyone to go with me. And I know I'm a little bit alone in my idea that like I could just go by myself. Like I'm fine with doing things by myself. I know that some people are really uncomfortable with that and they really like want to have a buddy. But what you're saying is you might be able to make a buddy there immediately.
Yes, that's my hope that everyone feels comfortable to ask each other questions or learn from each other. And that's another reason I wanted to do the ball at night because the daytime is more like learning and education and like conference style. But I wanted to have something where people felt like they could have fun, mingle, get to know each other, and just like celebrate this time. So that was really the goal of the ball was like, this is just something fun that we can all celebrate building a community and being together and dress up because dressing up is fun.
I was gonna say, is that like costumey? Is it ball gowns? What are we talking here?
I mean, people can wear whatever they want. I want it to be more like a ball, like with gowns and people dressing really fancy and getting like into it, whether it's like they're dressing super gothic or witchy or whatever makes them feel good. There's no like specific theme, or if they want to dress more like fantasy, like you said, with like the book fantasy balls. That's like a really big thing. So, and it's around Halloween. So, like, people can dress however they want and whatever makes them feel comfortable. But I do want it to be more like it's, high and it's going to be more gowns. It's a fantasy ball, so I want people to feel like they're in an enchanting, ball time.
It's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait to see the pictures from that. That'll be so cool to see what everybody's take on it is.
I'm excited to see people's like costumes or their gowns and how they dress and just like the pictures. We also have such a beautiful venue. Like it's this old warehouse that has all this exposed brick and chandeliers, and it's just the exact venue I had pictured in my head before I had even found it. So I'm so excited to see how it looks with everyone in it, with their dresses on, and just like it decorated. It's going to be so beautiful.
Now, is this something that you're thinking you want to do every year if this goes well?
Yes, I really see this happening every year with different speakers, with all different types of people. And I think eventually it would be cool to bring it to different states because I know like not everyone can travel or pay for travel, even though we do try to partner with hotels to get the cheapest rates. I know it's not realistic for everyone, so I think it would be really cool to try to bring it to different states in like the future. But yeah, it's something I would love to do every year.
Oh gosh, if you could travel, that would be ideal for me, or at least like slightly closer, because I really want to go, but I don't fly. It's like a hard no. So it would take me an awful long time to get from Chicago to Phoenix driving. So we would not be able to do that. But if you had one in the Midwest, you could bet I would be there.
It would be so cool to do one in Chicago too. That's funny because I'm from Chicago. I grew up there and I love it. And doing one in the city would be like, it would be such an experience.
That would be so much fun. Like I said, we have not had a witchy one in Chicago. We've had like oddities fairs and we've got great witchy bookshops that host things all the time. But something like a dedicated like workshops and ball, we have not had that. Like that's just witchcraft.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of places don't, like you said, like there's like the oddities ones, or there's like the spiritual conventions where it's like in a hotel, and that was exactly what I didn't want. Like I was so specific about the venue because I didn't want it to be like a corporate feeling, like when you go to a hotel conference and it's like in a basic building where you feel like you're back in school, or you just feel like it's very like gray and boring and dull. I wanted it to feel magical, the whole experience, even the venue. So like when people walked in the door, even though they're going to be sitting down and listening to someone speak, it was like you were in this beautiful building and it was all magical and it was all elevated and it felt like an experience. It didn't feel like you were just sitting in a lecture.
I enjoy that because I do feel like which I know that you have speakers who do ceremonial magic. I know for a fact that maybe Lynn is one of them, and she has been on this podcast specifically to talk about ceremonial magic. And sometimes I feel like in a classroom, like that's just so beyond my skill level that I feel like in a classroom setting. And there's a lot of workshops that will revolve around that aspect. And I'm like, I need something a little more basic for my basic self. But I think you know what I mean, where it's like different types of witchcraft that like feel more magical and more approachable and less like school.
Yes. And she's also doing a workshop, which I'm so excited about because I feel like not a lot of people get the chance to learn what she teaches, like in a hands-on approach in a setting that isn't intimidating. Because like occultism is very male dominated, and also it can be hard to get into. Like it's so specific and ritualistic, and I think it's intimidating to a lot of people to try to learn or find someone to learn from because they're so like cloak and dagger almost. So I'm really excited for her to be doing this workshop and for people to be able to, you know, try it out, get the hands-on experience and be able to ask her questions in a setting that is open and hopefully not intimidating to people if it's something that they want to learn.
Yeah, she's fantastic. One of my favorite people to chat with, to learn from. So I'm glad that she is able to offer that and just one of the many offerings. So I think it's such a great opportunity in like a smaller sort of setting, a very hands-on setting like that to be able to work on that because yeah, that's a little bit beyond my skill level at the moment.
Yeah, and I think with any of the workshops, it doesn't matter your skill level. Like you can have, like I said, you can have experience and you can have no experience because you have someone there that will be able to help you and answer your questions and guide you. And it is a small setting. Like the space for the workshops can only fit so many people. It's not going to be this huge workshop where, you know, nobody's going to be able to get to you or answer your questions. There's only like a select amount of people that can fit in the workshop space, so it will be more intimate.
And you in particular, how did you get to this point? Because you specialized in tarot, right? And doing tarot readings. And how did that lead you into deciding to make the summit? Because that seems like you have like the heart of a teacher.
It just happened. Like, yeah, I did tarot readings professionally. I mean, I still do, just not as much because I have so much going on. For about like 7, 8 years, and then, like I said, I created my own deck. It's called the Little Deck of Darkness, and it was inspired by like creating all these like mythical creatures or monsters, and then I did them all in like silhouettes of women, and then it was more like a shadow work oracle deck. So I did that 2 years ago, and people can still buy it through my website. I I guess like I always had this, like I said, I thought of this idea 6 years ago, and I just always was like, oh, I will, like, when I have time or when I have the funding or when I feel comfortable, you know, I always kept pushing it to the back and I was like, it's not the right time yet. You know, I'll figure it out when it's time. And then last year, I kind of was just doing the readings and I felt like I don't know what else I'm supposed to be doing with my business. Like, I knew I wanted to do this event, but I still was afraid that it wasn't the right time. And I talked to my friend about it, and she really helped me take the leap. And she gave me really good advice. And she was like, this is what you want to do. What's the worst that can happen? Go for it. And so I did. And here we are.
And, yeah, I think that I would probably be on the fence. Like, I'd probably be on the fence about it longer than 6 years, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know that I would like ever take the leap on something like that. So, I mean, congratulations, because obviously you put so much work into it to even get to this point. Like, not even had the event yet.
I'm excited. Like, it's also one of the only projects because I've done so many different things. Like, I did coaching for a little bit, like business coaching, and I thought I would enjoy it so much more than I actually did. And that's kind of when I was like, I don't know what I want to do anymore because I really thought that like business coaching and like integrating the tarot with the business coaching was like where I was headed. But it didn't click in the way I thought it was going to click. And so that's why last year I was like, I don't know what my path is. And then this event was just like, I, it, it just felt meant to be, like it was the right time. And I think like when you know in business. And for me, like if I make a decision to do something and I feel stressed about it the entire time, like it's not happening fast enough, it's not on the right time, like I'm just, you know, constantly anxious about it, then it's not the right thing. But if I'm calm about it and I'm not stressed about it and I feel like everything's gonna work out, then it usually is the right decision. And that's how I felt about this event the entire time. And so I am just going with it. And I'm happy that I feel that way about this event. So I feel like I usually do make really big decisions when it comes to like the business side of my life. But I also feel like I can usually tell pretty quickly if it's going to work out or not.
Well, it sounds fantastic. And it's hard, I think, for witches, spiritualists that want to incorporate, like use that like in their business. It's sort of hard to find that path and like find what you really love doing and be able to like incorporate those things. Because like a lot of times for those of us, I work corporate job. For those of us who work a corporate job, it feels very divorced. Like your day job from your witchcraft practice. And for me, that doing like the podcast and the videos like sort of brings it all together. But I know that a lot of people who like want to focus on it full time like find it very difficult because we're so creative and it's a very hard niche sort of area to be in and so many different directions that you could take it that it's like you feel like you're bouncing all over the place until something kind of like clicks.
Yeah, and it's funny because I talked to this one girl who was a medium and she had a mediumship business and she was like, being an entrepreneur is the most spiritual thing you can do and like the quickest way to have a spiritual awakening because it's so like you have to grow so fast and you have to learn so much about yourself so quickly. And I think that's really true because if you're going to do that and you're going to be an entrepreneur and try things, you have to be okay with failing and making mistakes and rejection and all of that stuff. And it's gonna hurt and you're gonna learn a lot and you're gonna grow from it. So I think that in itself helped me a lot with my spiritual journey. And doing both at the same time was like a wake up call in so many ways, in so many times. And I I don't know, I'm really happy with where I am right now. And I think that you just keep moving forward. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, it's like with your spiritual journey, you just have moments where you feel like you don't know and you're lost and you're not unsure if it's the right thing. But I feel like if you keep moving forward and moving towards what makes you feel good and calm in your life, that's where you'll find your purpose.
Is there anything that you do regularly in your life, in your practice, um, to take care of yourself and like solely focus on yourself since you do so much like outward, business and summits and, taking care of other witches? Is there anything you do for you?
I always pull one card every single day just to kind of like see what the day is gonna bring. And I always have like one day, I always try to have like one day per week where I don't do anything. So I can just like rest and kind of recharge my battery. So I will have energy for my projects for the rest of the week, for people. Because I, even though I'm hosting this event and I do a bunch of stuff, I am not much of a people person. Like I am, but I'm not. And I really need my alone time. So I always have one day where I just kind of shut everyone out and I recharge, I rest, and I focus on myself. And I think that's really important to like make sure if you're doing this type of thing, or even if you're just like working, like you said, working corporate, you have one day for yourself because life can get so overwhelming and so stressful sometimes that we forget to stop and make sure that we're okay and that we have the energy we need to keep going.
Excellent idea and excellent advice. I always burn out on the weeks and months that I don't do that. It happens way too easily. I am impressed that you pull a tarot card every day. I have not. There's been times in my life where I've been able to do that, but it's not something that I can commit to every day, most of the time.
Sometimes I forget, but I since I don't read as much as I used to, especially for other people, I really wanted to make sure that it still was a big part of my life since I'm not like doing it professionally as much anymore. So, and I also like have a million tarot decks in my room, so it's easily accessible for me to just like quickly pull a card every morning or like right when I get up. And that's usually when I do it, just like as part of my morning routine is to pull a card and then I like journal it really quick. And that's like 2 minutes, not even. And then I do it and I'm done and I'll feel like I did something, like I pulled a card and I'm good. And I don't have to think about it since it's part of my routine now.
Yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I could definitely see that if I did it regularly and just like committed to that and take it would really only take like a few minutes. I logically I know that. And then still when I like think about like, yeah, I'm gonna get started, I just never do. But it's like the same with like a journaling practice. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna brain dump at the end of every night and I'm gonna like hand write it and then like my hand cramps after two sentences and I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. So I need to figure out a better system for my life
It's
in
hard
general.
though. It's hard to create like a daily ritual or routine. Like, I mean, I used to always be that way where I was like, oh, I'm gonna meditate every morning. And then like I never can meditate. I would do it for like a week and then I would forget and I would just never do it again. So it's hard to like be consistent, especially when you're busy. And I think people get so caught up in that too. Like it's okay if you skip a few days or, you forget, but like just as long as you're trying, that's the most important part. And I don't know. I think it just needs to be something small. Like it doesn't have to be a 10-minute meditation every morning or meditate and journal and pull like sometimes people make these like elaborate daily rituals and if that works for them that's great but like most of the time people are too busy to do that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like I always have I need to like do my planning during the day because I always have to like best laid plans before I go to bed. I'm like, yes, tomorrow will be different and like come up with like all of these things at like 9 p.m. and then by 6 a.m. I'm like, nope, never mind. None of that is happening. I need to change my planning routine.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I hate journaling too. Like I can never journal. I can write down like my daily card pull, but I can't like journal about my feelings or like shadow work journaling or any of that stuff. Like I just have never been a journaling person and some people love it. And that's I don't know. I think it shows like how much people are different when it comes to self-care or their practices and that's what makes everything so unique. It's like you have to find what works for you.
And I think to bring it back to your summit, I think you two have a lot of different speakers, workshops, just different people with their books that are going to be there for meet and greets that are like kind of all different types of witchcraft and like all over the spectrum, and have very different daily practices and things that I think it's going to be a really helpful resource for witches to not feel so alone, because every speaker that you have there is going to say something different and say something different about their life and how they practice and what they like to do. So it's going to be very nice for people to be able to chat and not feel strange for once.
Yeah. I, and that's the thing too. Like you might think that all these experts are going to have like elaborate rituals, and they might not have like anything crazy for their morning routine or their rituals and things like that. You never know. And hearing other people talk about it, I think can really help someone that's just starting out and feels really nervous about all the things that they feel like they have to know.
For people who are listening to this now and they're like, okay, sounds interesting. I maybe live in Phoenix or close to Phoenix and I'm interested, or are interested and like want to keep up for future events, future years. Do you have any like social media or newsletters that people can sign up for and then like maybe see other people that are going and like feel feel like less alone, like there's already a community started?
Yeah, so they can follow us on the Witch Summit, all one word, and that's on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And then if you go to any of those, you can see the link to the website, or you can just go to thewitchsummit.com and subscribe to the newsletter. And we send out updates every month for people. And then closer to the event, we'll probably be doing more of a community like Facebook group so people can get to know each other and can talk to each other about things. We also have like discounted rates on the website for hotels that are going to be like 5 minutes away from the venue if people want to check that out too.
That's fantastic. Well, I think this is going to be a very helpful resource. And like you said, I hope you have so much success with this because I would love to see you come to Chicago. That would be a dream for me, to be totally selfish about it.
It would be such a cool location to come to, and I really hope that we can make that happen in the future.
Well, Tess, thank you so much for being here today and for chatting all about the summit. I appreciate you taking the time not only to make the event, but also to come on and chat about it.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a great time talking with you.
And listeners, I am going to have everything linked below and over in the show notes at witchwednesdays.com as always, so you can easily find the summit website and all the social media that we talked about. That will all be linked so you can find it easily and sign up, especially if you are in the Phoenix area. I am very jealous of you. But that is everything that I have for you all this week. I will see you next week.
Need even more witchcraft in your life? Subscribe to Witch Wednesdays on Patreon and YouTube for all types of exclusive bonus content like spells, recipes, book reviews, and more, or even order personalized tarot readings and spells. Be sure to follow on Instagram at Witch Wednesdays Podcast. And you can find all these links and more at witchwednesdays.com.